Okay, so hello all. This is what Enki is doing at all-time highs, right? Mm-hmm. Now, where do I think Enki can reach for? Mm, Most likely that level. Again, I'm not looking forward to it particularly. Just a moment. 26. Okay. Volume made it to 26. Mm, Like honestly, I particularly hated for a long time now. I particularly hated all-time highs, like I always did. I used to trade BTC once, but I was also sometime there. But yeah, uh, I just hated always all-time high days. I mean, they were the worst, and I think I still do kind of, maybe not to the extreme end, but yeah, I still hate all-time highs because there's nothing much to. I'm not saying that there's nothing in the market. There's a lot of movement, there's a lot of clarity, and if you can do something, you can really do something. But it's a bit on the harder end to build a bias and stick with it and move uh, in some manner, something or the other. Right? My movement gets restricted. That's what I think of all-time highs. So yeah. So as for NQ, this is what I'm expecting in general. Most likely target would be 26,600. Now, why do I say NQ is going higher still? Because it has already given that 0.5% level, right? We should be careful. But if we look at ES right here, ES has not given that very target, which target right there. See that? So 69,950, let's keep it a round number. Actually, I will make it a round number, doesn't matter. 69,950. So that's what I'm looking on for ES. So if that's what you're expecting on ES, I mean, that's a little far. I know that 26,600 is very far compared to 6,950 right here. But somewhere in that vicinity, like let's see if ES makes it till there, then we'll know. Because it's not necessary that ES would only move till here, right? It can move further than that. So yeah, that is out of the picture now. Let's move on to. I don't think there's any point of referring to at this moment, like at this moment, to 12 or anything because the market's trending it. There's nothing particular to check. But lower time frames should have some sense of clarity clearly right there. See that taken higher. So that's one thing. That's 9 o'clock. Okay, 9 o'clock has been pretty one-sided. But a good London session idea. You see that? Movement, gap, filled, and higher down. So that's just the model, of course. Nothing special about it. Just simply pointing around and seeing it. As for this guy, uh, weird trending scenario. And even though I don't want to, I want to be better at this, better in the sense because I know I can read price, but this belief right now that the market is at all-time highs and is a difficult read is hindering my current approach. So that's somewhere where I'm slightly struggling today, but I think I would be able to overcome that as we start the session. See that right there, how the market used it, point that out. That's how you check for gaps. Okay, you need to practice gaps. There's nothing else to it. You see, you mark gaps and see how the market chooses particular gaps and uses them accordingly. see that if you were trading pre-session, which I did not see, but if you were trading pre-session, it was could have been a very good, you know, run right there. See, that's the gap. Again, coinciding with what? With that 5 minute gap. Plus the consolidation right here, and then the breakouts, right? This is a very strong uh, approach for a buy. And then what else is matching? The 850 macro, right? So all of the things are lying 850 macro taking this stop right there, and then we rush higher. So yeah, that's the only thing. As for the RTS thing, so we have 25,973 as the close, uh, 25,973 and 3/4, and currently we are standing at 26. So that's like 150 something. If I'm not wrong. I don't know why I was calculating that. But yeah, the point is there is a massive gap in between at the moment, and there are many open range gaps in between. Right? See, there's a lot of open area, which I do believe the market would eventually come back into. You see, there's nothing. I think the most expected approach, in my opinion, would be tomorrow's Fed interest rate decisions. Right. So tomorrow's PM session news would be something pretty valuable, is what I believe. That is where most likely I'm not saying that the news would be bearish again. That's not what I'm expecting per se, but that should be a trend setter in a sense, and it should push prices down because well, it's gone too high, right? And there are too many gaps that are still unfilled. So the market would want to come back down. So that's my approach for the news that is tomorrow, not today. And tomorrow, obviously, we'll be live streaming the PM session as well. Because tomorrow PM session would be pretty interesting. In my opinion, it could be a dud, but most likely it would be interesting. Yeah, so let's see. We have 3 minutes before the market opens. Just checking all the time frames. ES should want to push higher, but again, that's not necessary. I don't have any conviction in it particularly. The intersection movement would tell me exactly what needs to be done. I don't want to, but I think right. So what I was saying, yeah, I don't want to, but let's take a look on the daily, not for the intraday chart, of course, at YMZ 2025. Not this. Yeah, everything is like at all-time highs. Because sometimes Dow tends to be somewhere behind, and I haven't seen the Dow chart for like I don't know, for a long time. So it would also want to do what? Probably reach for 48, 300 in general. So let's see if it makes it till there or not. Someday or the other, the trend is going to shift. I don't want to assume that, but it's like pretty obvious in the run that we have seen since April altogether. Like since April, that's complete 6 months, the market has been extremely bullish. Very long time, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There's nothing here to discuss here, and I don't like this chart anyway. My main concern is with NQ and ES. That's where I'm going to stick and be open another 20 seconds. Okay. It's an all-time high right there, 26, 79, 26.79. CRTH, that is like, let's see. I'm constantly fighting my, in a sense, my hatred is a very strong term, but still, that's the only word that comes to my mind right now. I'm constantly fighting my hatred for all-time highs to read price here, like constantly. Hate this. I mean, look at it's running higher. What do you see here? Nothing. There's nothing to see, and that is such a struggle. There's nothing. It's just running higher. What do you do here? What do you even anticipate? There's nothing like okay. There's a stop run there somewhere in here. That's where it's coming from. I don't fucking know, and that's why I hate all-time highs. I mean, is it coming down? I don't know that either. It has to show me something, and that not knowing is very irritating. At least at the moment, and it has been like that for a long, long time. And I really need to shift that. I understand it. But my mind is like, why shift when you can complain? So let's complain. Like I can't even talk about the candle, it seems. This will most likely be a consolidating candle. Like within this candle, like an inside bar or something of that sort. Even though it's an inside bar, that was not what I was expecting also. It's not inside bar. And if you look at ES is kind of why not why not why not why not go on a 30-second chart, right? For some more clarity. Okay. So that's a 30-second chart right there, okay? And Okay, so I apologize for any noise in the background. Uh, some people have lost their cool apparently. So, well, that's a 30-second chart right there. And okay, now watching that, mm, and watching ES, 30 seconds, super 30 seconds, please. I do believe we should be pushing lower, lower as in right there, right at this low. That's what I'm looking at right now. In fact, I don't even want to say I'm looking for that low, but that's exactly what I'm looking for. And well, we could even take a jab at this low, but that's too far. Let's see first how the market reacts here. Or even if it makes it till here, right? That's also one thing. Still watching. Should reject from this gap if it wants to go to that low, and that's what I'm willing to see. That right there should be an entry, but a very short trade, like a very short trade. Let's say what 70 to 50 barely. That's 20 handles. That's like 5 handles on ES. The one that ICT says 5 handles, right? So yeah, that was 5 handles for NQ. Beautiful. And look at ES dropping like anything. 5 handles, right? That's 920 somewhere, 923 to 920 almost, around about 5 handles. So okay, I was not even on a 30-second chart. I was on a 15-second chart, but anyway, it was still clear. So that was below I was looking at. Now I want to see this candle. How does behave? Does it push lower or does it push higher? That's how you'll actually know if it's going for that low or not. Because these equal lows have been violated right there. We had a volume imbalance which was not hit, and that's going too deep. I'm a bit fearful to go that deep, but then you have to face the deep, right? There is no other way. There's a gap in 1 minute right here. No, right there. No, not interested. Back to 15 seconds. Okay, now let's see how this order block behaves because ES has presented a gap after breakdown. It should try to use that to push lower for equal lows right here. Now that's what I'm seeing right now. And I mean, it's too fast to even think of an execution, so I'm not even thinking of an execution right now. But still, that's a good watch. At least I can read price. That's one thing. So yeah, if ES goes there, then we are looking at this low right here for NQ. Right there, right there. And that's the order block I was talking about, this 15-minute candle right there. That high should remain intact if we are going lower. I'm just gonna mark that as what? As safe only if we are going lower. Right, safe if bearish. I think I should increase the size of the text, shouldn't I? I don't know if it will be visible on the live stream or not. So that's nice. I could do it bold. Yeah, that's fine. So that's a 15-second chart. You're looking for what? That low right here. That's the first presented fair value gap on the 15-second. I mean, that's funny. But yeah, that's the first presented fair value gap on the 15-second chart. If it's the first presented gap, then it should be this color right here. Let's see. So watching ES, if ES makes it to that low, then and NQ doesn't, then NQ will not be going lower. That would be one thing. I'm not expecting, I would not be expecting lower prices in NQ if ES takes it and NQ stays there. Right. So still watching ES if it is willing to take that low or not, but like This has come too far. It's unlikely to go lower right now. And if you just see, no, not that one. This one. If you see the bodies right here, that's a 30-second chart right now. We're not even on a 15-second chart. See that? Now that is what we call what? Precision right there. That's a 30-second chart, still that much precise. And as long as it stays above that, I think NQ can push higher. But it depends. Like I'm watching if ES can respect that gap really, because NQ was able to go much farther. Well, about 15-second chart here as well. Right. So yeah, as much as I mark that safe, I'm watching ES to see if actually NQ can push well, because the way I see NQ structure right now on the 15-second chart is it's highly unlikely that it wants to go lower. I think it wants to go higher, at least one stab, and that higher stab would be right where we marked safe, right? So that would be a first hit if it is going higher. And as you can see, right now ES is almost at that low, but NQ has not done anything literally. And there you go. I told you right, it's not safe anymore. And the structure doesn't look good for bearishness. But ES should take that low out before we see any more upside in NQ. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. Let's see. Let me take a normal look at the chart as well. The 1 minute right here. Nothing so interesting here overall. None of the charts are appeasing to me. No time frames whatsoever. ES is almost at the low, almost. And there you go. That's the low taken in ES right there. This could be interesting because we could see a push higher, but what? I mean, in my opinion, ES high should now remain intact. Why am I saying that? I know this is a very wide gap, and I don't want to run ahead of it. But yeah, I'm looking at this as a most likely sell, but not selling right now. See, the approach is very clear. I'm not thinking of selling it right now. I'm just simply seeing this right there, this gap, and I'm seeing what NQ has done right here. So what's the average understanding? If NQ makes it to the high, ES would make it to the gap, right there. So that's the first approach, which may or may not happen, but that's the most likely approach that I see right now. So once ES makes it to the gap and NQ makes to that high, if we have a shift in structure, what would ES do? Right, ES would go lower without taking that high. So that's what it's like a game of chess. You're planning 10 moves ahead, but that doesn't mean that you will get the same thing, right? You have to improvise on the way as well. So yeah, so that's my planned move ahead right now. But what the market presents me is what will tell me what to do. So well, Now, where is the actual first presented? We could say this is the first presented fair value gap, but it's like too small to be a first presented fair value gap, in my opinion. I don't like gaps so small. So I'm not even going to mark first presented today. I'm going to let it be. Let's see if we get a good, decent gap somewhere here. Okay, so ES is still consolidating at the low, which is like, okay, consolidating as in on the 15-second chart, right? So it's still consolidating right there. Let's see what it really wants to do. Mm, see, that right there is a balanced price range on the 5-minute chart, right above that high. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to mark that, and that right there would be a structure shift. Okay. Now my most likely approach right now is we are going lower for that low. That's what I'm looking at. Mm, Now the only question that is here for NQ, does it want to go lower? But ES looks very nice. It's there is clearly. You can see the 5-minute chart for ES and NQ, like very different, right? So yeah, ES is pretty bearish, but NQ not so much. And ES is simply breaking down. It is kind of, not necessarily, but kind of weird because that removes the kind of clarity we had in the game. Now we need a new understanding of price. Uh, Now see the funny part. ES has already made it to the bottom end of its opening range gap. Right? Oh, sorry, not the opening range gap. The RTH. Oh, what's it called? RTH gap, whatever it is. I just forgot the name, the technical name. But yeah, the RTH gap right here, it has closed that one up for ES, but NQ is far, far away from it, right? Very far, right there. So that is something to observe because I want to see if that very RTH gap wants to support price or would that now act as a barrier for price from moving higher. And I really like what NQ is doing overall. I want to align myself, but I'm not very aligned because it's like what? That very belief hindering me, right? We are at all-time highs. I cannot be shorting it, I cannot be buying it. That's how my mind is functioning right now. Mm, Okay. See that right there? That gap was it. That should be a sell, but it's just too quick to say anything. I really find it interesting. Right, very at this, like at this very moment, I find this very interesting, but at the same time, I do feel it's a bit early to say that. Um, we have to wait for some sort of a proper confirmation. I'm zooming out to see if I can see a clearer picture in terms of where it wants to drop. So I have more conviction in what I'm looking at. But at the moment for NQ, I don't really have that conviction. For ES, I do think it's going for that low. So that's pretty much okay. But for NQ, it's like, let's just climb the stairs, right? I'm not sure if it wants to go lower or it's like it would want to come into some this region or maybe take one stop out and then go higher. So I don't know right now. Still waiting for this low. Okay. See, since the same is not in ES, so but okay, the way I'm looking at NQ, and since this low is so close, now this should act as an order block right there. What this green, like not green, sorry, I know right. So this bullish candle right here should act as an order block because we've already broken below the low. It should keep prices below it, and by below it I mean below the mean threshold of this whole body, that would be 2650, right? So yeah, prices should remain below 26,050 if we are looking at this to be bearish. Again, by prices I don't mean the VIX. VIX can be, like they can do the damage. They're probably not above the high, but yeah, they can do the damage. But price should most likely, like bodies and everything, should remain below 2650 for a bearish run. If that's what we are looking at. Now this is where, like exactly where the price is right now. This is where I'm looking for a gap, like you know something like a big heavy candle down, then another heavy candle down, something like that, and a gap in between right there. So that is something that I'm looking at. If we get something like that, we could, like that would be a very easy shot. But apart from that, I'm still waiting. Now, why did I not sell right there? Okay, so see, I had a bit of conviction, but I didn't know how it was going to behave at that low, like once that is taken. Second thing was because it's not my model. And as simple as that. That's first thing. It's not my model. I could have traded that, but not without a clear model. Let's say we would have gone higher and then done that, right? So then I would have definitely entertained it, and I would have taken that shot going lower. But we did not do it. So I'm just waiting for a clear, representation of a model, some sort of a clear understanding that shows me that we want to go lower because ES is clear on the draw as far as I see it. ES is quite confident, in my opinion, that it should go below that low. But for NQ, we need some more clarity. Look at it right now, I don't really feel, because I know I have a clear draw in ES, and that is a bit distracting, honestly. Why I'm saying it is distracting? Because the way I see NQ right now, if there is a clear setup, they should want to go higher now because consolidating right at that low. And I don't see anything in ES except the opening range gap. And if we are able to move above that, I'm going to mark that price actually so we have a clear view. Let's paint it some different color, something or the other. I don't know what orange. Right there, and let's make it dotted and dashed. And that would be the 9:30 opening, right? So yeah, look at that. I mean, that is but readable. Yeah, readable. It was expected I would want to go higher, but there's nothing to do here. You just wait. There's literally nothing to do. I mean, what I knew it was going higher, but there was nothing to do, right? I'm watching it. I told you right here that I would want to go higher, and this candle was just making, not even this, like it was somewhere here, right? You can rewind the light right there. So I said it would go higher, but there's nothing I can do here. I just have to wait. Now, if you look at a 15-second chart, it would be even more drastic. Yeah, that boom. And if you take a look at ES, now ES has just hit that. What is that button? Zero, you want it. Give me a moment. Okay, so that is the old high. All right, right, it's that there. So that's the old all-time high from the Asian session today. Okay, that's going to be a reject line. I'm going to remove that. It's not required right now. And see, ES could not make it to the gap and has rejected strongly. NQ, on the other hand, is coming. I would mark this yellow now because we are watching how NQ behaves on this gap. I mean, yeah, it could be a good buy, but it would be a tough buy, honestly. I'm still looking if ES could really. I don't know. I mean, ES is like off the charts. I have like if it would have been more supportive of this whole price run, I think by now I would have bought NQ right here. But ES is absolutely unsupportive of it, and I am still waiting. Tricky to take any action at the moment. I mean, I want to. Why I want to? Not because I want to trade, but simply because I think I see something. But again, I'm not so confident. Why? Because my belief is still in the way. What belief? All-time highs, right? I don't know what the fuck it is doing. And that's interesting. I don't want to act. I don't want to act. And this is me stopping myself from doing anything. And I don't know what I'm doing. Wow. I can't even open a trade because the kind of position that I'm trying to open is like a very big margin size, requires a very big margin size because the range is very small, I believe. No, it's not. What the fuck? Yeah, it's going fine. Oh, actually, sorry. It was a mistake. Okay. Mm, be very careful. Okay. So, okay, I don't know at this moment. I don't know if my price would be executed. Like I have a very bad order placed. Why I say it's a bad order? Because in fact, honestly, I have placed it because I think it will not be taken. Honestly speaking, that's a fact. I think it will not be taken. That is why I have placed that order right here. What happened now? And let's see. And is this is there you go. The disclaimer is running. Please be wary of it. This is not a trade idea. You should know what you're risking, what you're going in for. I know what I'm doing, and I'm okay with being wrong. I have no issues. But you might have issues. So yeah, be very careful when I say that. Okay, okay, okay. That's wrong. That's exact 1%. I should not be saying this, but I really hope it doesn't take my entry. I'm such I'm in such a zone that I don't want to see it take my entry. I want to just see it rip maybe, I don't know. Do whatever the bucket wants to, but stay away from my entry. That's exactly how I'm working right now. Like in my mind, I'm like, it should not come to my entry. Not because I'm reading price. I just simply don't want to be in this. I don't know why. Trying to run away from what I see. And I would expect, honestly, now coming back to the game, enough that I think that was quite a lot of joke. That like for the session, it was enough. So yeah, I think we should be coming to this area right here in the least. Obviously, I'm not expecting that, but yeah, this area could be hit. You see that inversion gap right there on the 15-second chart, right there. Yeah, so this is what we could hit. Now let's see how we act. I'm gonna remove this. I'm not interested in that gap now. So yeah, that is what I'm expecting right now, and I'm going to go ahead because we're not observing anymore. We are in a trade idea. We are following that. So this should be a bullish scenario, bullish gap. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Let's see if 30 second has something for me. Actually, I'm going to start them for today, right, so I can see. Okay, so 30 second also has that. It doesn't really have anything honestly. It's a 2 minute order block, if I'm right. Yeah, right there. That's a 2 minute order block. Okay, okay, okay. So see, it's all about speed here. I know I'm speaking very, in a swift manner, but because we are trading on lower time frames and well, I am live, right? So you would be receiving this at low latency, so so the data should get there as fast as possible, is my opinion. But anyway, again, this is not a trade idea. There is substantial risk of loss in trading, so be very careful with that. Do not trade this. I'm not suggesting you any kind of trade. I'm doing this because I'm doing this. You don't need to. I'm not a registered financial advisor. I mean, I think I'll have to do this every live, right? To warn everybody as usual. Because this can kill you right away, right? Which could just burn your account down straight away. So don't fuck with what you don't know. If you know it, please do whatever you like. None of my concern. Okay, so let's see if we can get our order filled. I would expect it to hit the gap. Not mandating it, but I would expect it, sure, because there's a 2 minute gap right there also. Okay, so yeah, everything is in alignment overall, plus a 3 minute gap. Now, if it wants to leave it as a breakaway, that would be a different thing altogether, but that is not what I'm expecting. Right, so that adds to it. I'm like still looking for that very entry level field. As for TP, I mean, this would be the like, easiest target. Let's see how price is presented. I'm not aiming for 26, whatever I had marked. Where have I marked? I don't know. Okay, that is too far. Clearly, that is too far. I'm not even aiming for that. I'm just simply checking what's the best scenario if this entry gets taken. What is ES doing, by the way? ES is pretty much consolidating, trying to slowly push higher. Okay, let's see if still we can get filled. They are still consolidating. I'm not like, let's see. I'm not sure if it will take the entry or not. I'm still waiting on that because ES is on the lower end of the interesting opening it like RTH gap. So yeah, it should want to take support of it. That's the overall expectation. Let's see if we get what we want. I do believe I should have been a little quicker. Again, not in a sense of complaining, but simply because I could not act, not because it was a lower time frame. I could not act because I did not want to act. So that was the struggle right there. I'm not saying that I cannot get stopped out on this or that I cannot be wrong. I'm simply saying that I should have acted in the given time. See that right there? That's the gap. That's also 1 minute gap again. We were aiming for a 15-minute inversion, but that is also a 1 minute gap. I would like to see that taken. Well, let's see if we can make it till then. Now see, if I look at ES, now there's a good chance that we might leave this low intact. Good chance. I hope it doesn't. Like that's not what I'm seeing right now, at least. But if you look at ES has just hit that. That's the low of the RTH gap, right? I don't get that one. Just a second. Full screen. Right. So there, right there, it has already hit the low end of the opening range gap and is moving higher now. So maybe, just a maybe NQ won't take that low. But let's see. It's not giving any sign that it's leaving it right now. And looking at such a small time frame, like as in 15-second chart right there, and a consolidation, I mean, I think a manipulation would be more than likely, not just a little bit likely. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Let's see if we get this manipulation or not. Okay. 30 seconds look like it would go straight for that low. Like straight as in no more bullish candles in between. It should go straight for that low right there. And as for 1 minute, nothing can be said. Still consolidating. 15 seconds, nothing particular that can be said. And 30 seconds is not doing that. Not interested yet. Okay. Now, if I'm on track, the next candle should drop sharply. Mostly when I say that, the candle does the opposite of that. So let's see if what it does. If it does the and yeah, it has done almost done the exact opposite. It has exactly done the exact opposite of what I said. But Okay. I do think it would want to hit it. I'm just gonna stay on the 1 minute chart right now, not on the 15 second yet. And let me take a look here. Okay. I think this 1 minute candle should be strongly bearish. Okay. Let's see if it can not reject and be a stronger candle for the bearish run. ES is moving slightly lower. Should want to take that low it created at what time? Like 10:06. That's what it should be going for, in my opinion. Let's see. That's a very tight range, as you can see, for a 15-second chart. And it's very unlikely, in my opinion, that it would move above or below without manipulating in some sort. It's been ranging for like how much? 9:38 to 10:12. That's like 15 minutes almost. Been ranging for 15 minutes in this very area, which is premium for this run, right? Like for this run, if you see this to this, that's right there is premium, correct? So it would want to come into discount once before it goes higher. Well, that's what my approach is at the moment. I'm looking for higher prices. No confusion there. Expecting. I'm not expecting this to show breakdown of any sort. Okay. Right. So I'm not expecting it to show any breakdown of any sort like it goes with that and keeps going lower. I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting this gap to be a bullish support area for this, and we eventually go above that high and to what price? Yeah, 26, 127 most likely. So that's what I'm looking at the moment. Still waiting on if we could get that low, which we should, but yeah, still waiting on it because we haven't gotten it right. Common sense. I know. Again, see, I know the best entry would be inside this gap, like this blue gap and this small open gap right there. So the best entry should be at the consequent encroachment of this blue gap. but I don't look for best entries anymore. I see the most probable entry, and that would be right below that low. So yeah, that's where my entry is. The stop goes straight below the low. There's no other place I would like to place my stop. I mean, yeah, you could say we could push it a little higher, but why the fuck would you want to do that, right? I mean, does one handle stop extra kill you? No, it does not. So better take the better risk, right? That's the whole point. Don't try to be ICT. He has 30 years of experience. Okay. Now I would expect this. That was not a good candle. I was expecting it to be a full range candle, but that's okay. I'm not going to say anything. But if it would have been a more stronger bearish candle, I would expect the next candle to drop further. Let's see if this can actually do that. Like for 30 seconds, it looks decent, but I don't want rejection now. If we are going for that low, mm, ES is simply consolidating, like tightly consolidating, right? As per MQ, if you look at 1 minute, it would be beautiful. Yeah, it should be two candles. I don't want to see rejection if it's going down. Like that's whether it's rejecting, then it's still in the range. It doesn't want to go down. So I don't want to see that. I would like to see heavy bearish candles going straight for the low. Almost like, okay, we're not going higher, we are going lower. It looks something like that. Going back to the 15-second chart. I would not like to see any bullish candles in 15 seconds. Like strongly bullish, right? By any bullish candle, I mean strongly bullish candle in any sense. Because it should want to push, it should appear weak now. It should look like it's like it wants to drop, right? Exactly. So that's what we are looking for. I don't want to see any strong candles. Now 30 second looks decent, but we still haven't gotten the drop. 1 minute is like okay, like nothing special. Let's see. This is the part which used to like this is not tough for me anymore, but it used to be very tough. Like now it's pretty much balanced, and I don't really have any issues with this weight. But this was the toughest part of the weight, where it would just consolidate and not take my entry or something, and that would just make me struggle. Uh, well, so yeah, we've got another bullish candle again. Either we are still in the range, or we want to move higher without taking those stops. So let's see what we do. Now, ES is still consolidating. There is nothing to really say about it. I'm going to mark that low so we can see it much more clearly. Oh, sorry. Correct. So yeah, I mark that low so we can see it clearly. I would like to use a darker color. Okay. No, I don't want to see that. Absolutely not. I would like to see it keep projecting lower, which it is currently. Okay. That's pretty much decent. The next candle should drop. Like reading a 15-second chart is slightly trickier because, well, it's a 15-second chart, right? But still, like we should see that drop, and no, it has failed again. Yeah, we should be seeing it actually. I think we should be dropping into that low, and then so there we have it. Let's see if we can support price now. Okay. So this is where now I need to stay. Like the trader's job is completed. The trader is done. Now we are back to observation. What the market is exactly doing and what does it want to do, which tends to be difficult sometimes. Sometimes actually, yeah, it tends to be difficult sometimes. Like not always, of course, but yeah, it tends to be difficult sometimes because well, like today, what's the new thing? Today I've gone out of the box and traded a 30-second and a 15-second chart, right? Where I trade a 1 minute chart mostly. Like I have traded 15, 30-second chart in demo and like before while tape reading. I've done that, but yeah, I'm not really traded with in a sense live funds, whether they are prop firm funds or whatever. But I've not really done that. So yeah, that's out of the box. But again, the candles are the same, the observation remains the same. There's no trading of stop here, there's only booking. I am looking at that high right there. That's the first shot that I'm looking at. And apparently I cannot book it in this one because I have only one contract, which is all right. Like I don't care about that because this is like what paper trading account, right? So I don't care about that right now. My approach is very clear. I'm looking at that high and how it behaves there, and then that high. So it's not that if it gets there, now I'm booking, or it gets there, I'm booking. That's not how I'm functioning. I simply want to see what price does and then behave accordingly. Because I'm watching ES on the other chart, and ES is like, well, ES is like nothing at the moment. Like it just broke out of that consolidation. Let's see if it wants to go higher or not. If you see the 5 minute chart, well, there's a lot of consolidation, not a lot of, but yeah, decent consolidation, and then then that breakout kind of thing. Okay, nothing special, nothing out of the box. 3 minute also nothing special. Now, if you look at NQ, it's not behaving very nicely at the moment. So that right there is a 3 minute gap that is just hit. Like it's that gap is in every time frame, right? 3 minute, 1 minute, 2 minute, 15 second, like somewhere in that region only. But it's just like completely filled that gap. Now, if since it has completely filled it, I would like to see it run from here. That's the original expectation, and not break lower below that candle because breaking lower below that candle would make it much more weaker. I'm not saying that that would fail the trade ideally, but yeah, if it breaks below that low, now we have like we have to see price from a new lens in a sense because it might not be going where we are thinking it's going, right? So I want to at this given moment, I want to see that low remain intact because we have filled the gap and then we rejected. Once that swing point is found, it's not yet a swing point, so I'm still holding on to it. Like, let's see if we get that swing point first. So, if we get that swing point, I would like to see it remain intact. That's my approach right now. Well, we have a swing point now. I would expect expect as in I'm not reading it. I'm expecting this to be a bullish candle that wants to reject and move higher. See the bodies right there at the center. So that's a good thing. Let's see if it can actually support prices. ES is looking decent, like nothing special, but yeah, it looks like it wants to go higher right now. I'm slightly tapped out of the zone because this happens when I enter the position, right? It gets a little on my nerves because the observation, the observer in me, the analyst in me, goes out of the mind, like he goes on a break or something like that once I enter a position. So that's how it mostly functions, and I am trying to bring that analyst out of the box, out of his comfort zone, and stay here even when the position is on. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. Let's see what else do we have. Some consolidation would be appreciated, no doubt. In my opinion, when we really move out of here, there would be a lot of speed. Why? Because of this. Because of this. So these two movements tell me that once we actually move out of here, there should be a lot of speed. There should be a lot of rush. So that is something I'm looking at. Like I said, I still want this low to remain intact. Now it's even in 2 minutes, so I would expect this to not be broken. And clearly that's not the case. Okay. Now let's see if we can still stay inside this gap. That's the last level I'm seeing. I mean, it should not go lower than that, like not even a bit lower than that. Otherwise, I'm okay. So yeah, I think it's going for that low now. Yeah, it's going for that low. That's what I see right now. I think my eyes need to shift a little. I like what I see in ES, but like NQ is not at all happy going higher. ES is doing pretty decent, honestly speaking. Trying to reject much higher, much strongly. But NQ on the other hand is like behaving kind of weird, and we have a question in what NQ, right? So yeah, that's questionable. I don't want to see this cap act as resistance if we are still in the game, which is highly unlikely. I think we're still like going, uh, we're most likely going lower. I'm thinking of reducing the risk right here because I've been given the opportunity to do so. I like where the bodies are, but still, it's like still a very risky shot now because we have gotten much deeper. Mm, let's see this candle. I want to see what the next candle does. And yes, I know it can just dip lower and I may not be able to exit, but that's the risk of the game, right? I have to stay with it. So I'm not trying to get a stop loss particularly, but I'm just watching what this particular candle does right here. That's the 1029 candle. Will it break lower or will it try to push higher? So that's what I'm watching. I think this candle would help me decide whether I reduce the risk or I stick with my position. I want to act on that. Like I don't want to not act on it, right? Okay, still right there. Let's see what happens. Mm, still watching if it can make it inside that gap, and clearly no. Okay, Okay. Now that is not good. ES is moving higher still. ES is moving decently, like at least even in consolidation, it's slightly moving higher, but NQ is not willing to do that. Right. Okay. Again, as far as I'm concerned, I want to see this low remain intact because there's nothing else that I see in price right now that tells me that it wants to go lower or higher. Like my original narrative is not out of the picture, but it has been, the probability of that narrative is like significantly reduced at the moment. Even though ES is moving pretty decently, once it breaks above that gap, that would be a good addition to the run higher. We should be going for that high right there. So, but yeah, let's see. I'm just waiting if this gap acts as rejection or does it help move the market higher. That's pretty much it. And I'm now watching NQ if we can. Executions are missing, right? I should just add the executions right here. Okay, and that is bad. That is very bad. Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to get stopped out, and there you go. So that was a stop right there. This week has started comparatively compared to the next week. It has not been a very decent week start. It has not been a very good start. That's all. Uh, and okay. Now, what am I looking at? I'm looking at what price actually does again. It's pretty bearish. This is where it would be interesting because the low is taken and ES is not moving very lower. So I'm willing to see something. Well, what I'm willing, let's not say I'm willing. I want to see what the market does again at this low, this very particular low. Because what we are broken the consolidation, it hit the breaker right there, which is not a big answer, sorry. Like the old high right there, it hit it right there, and okay. Yeah, my eyes are still at 15-second chart looking at what? Right, that gap. Is it there in 1 minute? And that would be much more, no, not 30 seconds. Yeah, I think I would want to rely on the 30-second chart much more than 15-second chart. Yeah, okay. So there's that. Okay. I want to see this gap be ripped through. That's what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, I'm a bit upset on this stock, honestly speaking. Not because, no, not because I trade a 15-second chart or anything like that. I'm just, well, I was not expecting that. Let's keep it that way. And that would be me saying that I want everything perfect, which is not possible and which is obviously not realistic at all. Okay, so there we go. Okay. Nope, I still don't have the confirmation I'm looking for. I want to see it close above the gap. And well, I don't want to rely on 30-second gap on the 1 minute chart, obviously, right? That's stupid. Yeah, I like what it has done on the 15-second chart, but yeah. Okay, let's just stick to 30-second and 1 minute right now. I want to see it close above that gap. So far, it hasn't, and that makes me uninterested still. Well, I like kind of what I see, but actually, I've gotten a bit overwhelmed now. I don't want to take the entry. This is where I'm struggling now. When the right entry comes, we struggle. From this struggle, right? And okay, so yeah, okay. Again, same logic, same narrative. Yes, I just the only supporting line here is ES should remain above the gap, and that is where I need to see it remain above the gap. Because if ES comes below the gap, then definitely that's not a good sign for our trade idea. Okay, well, this is some AM session. Like again, it's one of those days. I don't want to regret it, and I'm not regretting it honestly. I'm following what I'm seeing, but I don't want to end up regretting it in the sense because once I leave, I'll be like, why did you open two trades? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? I'm like, okay, I'm reading the market. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, that is something that I have to accept. But I cannot just, walk away from it. But no, okay, I'm not going to do this because it's risky, because I feel hurt, something like that. All right. This candle should reject higher. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm asking myself the same question. Am I still with price or am I just with the trade? Clearly. Okay. Honestly, the only thing in question today is my all-time high belief coming forward again. Don't fuck with the all-time high. That's what I believe. I'm not saying you should not be trading it or I should not be trading it. But yeah, that is a very strong belief. It has been there for like from the beginning of my trading journey. I don't even touch all-time high. I run away from when I see all-time high. I'm like, I don't even want to see the market. And this is me talking on the 15-second chart with the all-time high. So going against that belief, tough thing to do and probably not the best thing to do. But eventually, I know I'm going to get better at this, like trading all-time highs. But it's okay. I have no concern with that. Mm, and so that would be it for today. We should be seeing each other tomorrow in London, but I do think that's a bit unlikely, but most likely I would be there. So yeah, see you there in London. Bye.